September 26, 2025 was one of the unusual days in Nonsan, a city widely known for its South Korean military training center. In the midst of the busy training routines of the young soldiers, the atmosphere suddenly feels different when the famous actor and idol, Cha Eunn Woo, is seen visiting a flower garden located not far from the training camp complex. The presence of a figure who is familiarly called Face Genius, it seems to be a breath of fresh air for the surrounding environment, which is usually closer to the nuances of discipline and assertiveness. Since the morning, the air in Nonsan is cool with the autumn breeze carrying the scent of dry leaves. The blue sky stretches bright, and the soft falling sunlight illuminates a flower garden that is indeed at its best. Colorful flower beds bloom as if to be the perfect backdrop for anyone who stops by. Not surprisingly, this park has always been a popular destination for locals and visitors from outside the region, especially during the change of season on that day. Cha Eunn Woo and his colleagues from the military division get a schedule to perform on a simple stage built in an area near the park. The stage is used for internal entertainment events that are sometimes held to encourage young soldiers and families who come to visit. After finishing the performance with his team, the originally formal atmosphere changed to a more fluid one. Some of Eunn Woo's division colleagues then invited him to stop by the flower garden, which was located just a few steps from the stage location. Without much hesitation, Eunn Woo walked along with the small group. When they arrive, a relaxed atmosphere is instantly created. The colorful flowers that bloom look even more beautiful when combined with the soldiers' uniform they wear. This is where a spontaneous idea arises. Eunn Woo's division colleagues jokingly invite to take a picture together, as if they were doing a pre-wedding photo shoot. It was a simple joke that brought laughter between them. Some soldiers stood in pairs among the flowers, while others posed like professional photographers. Eunn Woo, with his trademark smile, responded to the invitation. Although famous for the perfect facial charm that often adorns commercials and plays, this time he appeared as he was, without studio lighting or stage makeup, accompanied only by the natural light of autumn. The moment became a unique sight that was not commonly encountered in the military camp environment. Behind strict discipline, there is another side full of warmth, togetherness, and simple cheerfulness. Eunn Woo's presence seems to be a binder that makes the atmosphere more festive. Some park visitors who happened to be at the site were surprised and lucky because they could see the big idol mingling with his military colleagues in a relaxed atmosphere. For many, the flower garden is just a tourist spot with beautiful views. However, for Cha Eunn Woo and his division friends that day, the park turns into a small space that holds memories. Pre-wedding style photos taken with laughter and light jokes will be a story that they can remember in the future, especially when the training period ends and each continues his life journey. This simple opening was the beginning of an interesting story about how a public figure with a big name was still able to enjoy small moments with friends during the draft. There were no professional camera highlights, no cheering of thousands of fans, only the laughter of young soldiers enjoying a beautiful day in the middle of a field of Nonsan flowers. For the people of South Korea, Nonsan is not only known as the main location of the military training center, but also as one of the areas that have a charming natural charm. One of the biggest attractions of the city is its flower garden, which every year is always a magnet for domestic and foreign tourists. The charm of a garden that welcomes every season. The flower garden in Nonsan is designed in such a way that it always presents a different landscape at each change of season. In spring, thousands of azaleas, tulips, and magnolias bloom with bright colors. Summer brings sunflowers with golden yellow petals facing towards the sun, creating a sea of yellow that is so soothing to the heart. When autumn arrives, as on Cha Eunn Woo's visit this time, the fall typical expanse of chrysanthemums, cosmos, and wildflowers display charming shades of orange, red, and purple. In fact, even in winter, the park retains its charm with a landscape of snow-covered trees, creating a fairy tale-like landscape. For locals, this park is not just a place for recreation, but also a space to gather with family, hold community events, to just walk leisurely in the afternoon. Meanwhile, for out-of-town tourists, this park is one of the main destinations for photographing Instagrammable natural beauty while enjoying tranquility in the midst of the hustle and bustle of modern life. History and development. A Nonsan flower garden is not created overnight. At first, the location was just ordinary farmland filled with food crops. The local government, realizing the potential of natural beauty and a favorable climate, then initiated a green space revitalization project in the late 1990s. From there, the forerunner of this flower garden was born. The process of developing the park is gradual. Initially, it was limited to a small area with seasonal flowers, but later it was expanded into a large complex with walking paths, gazebos, picnic areas, as well as photo spots specially designed for visitors. Along with the increasing tourist interest, this park also began to become the location of annual festivals, one of which is the Nonsan Flower Festival, which is always crowded with thousands of visitors from various parts of Korea. This festival usually features flower parades, traditional to modern music performances, and art exhibitions inspired by the beauty of the surrounding nature. Not infrequently, the festival also invites artists or public figures as guests, thus adding to its appeal. No wonder Nonsan Flower Park is now one of the proud tourism icons for this small town. Relationship with training camp. The uniqueness of this park lies in its location adjacent to the military training center in Nonsan. For many young soldiers serving in the army, this flower garden became a kind of small oasis in the midst of a strict routine. Occasionally, when the training schedule gives a little leeway, some of them can walk through the area around the park to just see the flowers in bloom. In fact, some military events that are public often choose the area near this park as the location of the stage. This is not without reason. In addition to easy access, the view of the park is able to create a warmer and friendlier atmosphere for the families of soldiers who come to visit. This is what happens when Cha Eunn Woo and his division mates perform on a small stage near the flower garden. The location not far from the flower beds makes them easily divert steps into the garden area after the event is over. Their presence seemed to strengthen the connection between the park and the training camp, a symbol that behind the assertiveness of the military, there is still room to enjoy the beauty and togetherness, cultural and tourist attractions. In addition to the beauty of the flowers, this park is also known as a place that is often used as a backdrop for pre-wedding photo shoots, magazine shoots, to filming dramas. The natural beauty presented makes photographers do not need to use a lot of additional properties to produce stunning images. In fact, not a few young couples are willing to travel long distances just to capture their important moments among the flowers of Nansan. This is what makes the moment Cha Eunn Woo's colleagues take pre-wedding photos feel very relevant. They utilize local icons that are already synonymous with romance and beauty. The difference is that this time the actors are not a couple who are about to get married, but a group of young soldiers who are resting from camp routines. The symbol of hope behind flowers. Flowers have always had a symbolic meaning in Korean culture. Chrysanthemums, for example, are often considered to symbolize fortitude and determination, in accordance with the spirit of the young soldiers who are serving. Cosmos symbolizes peace and harmony, a value that is also upheld in the life of the nation. While the sunflower is a symbol of joy and loyalty, it seems to reflect the togetherness that exists between the members of the division. When Cha Eunn Woo and his colleagues capture the moment in the middle of this park, they unwittingly also represent these values. For the public who heard this story, the image of Eunn Woo among the flowers will probably always stick, not only as a portrait of a celebrity, but also as an ordinary human being enjoying a simple moment with a comrade in arms. For every South Korean man serving in the military, the training camp in Nonsan is a disciplined starting gate. This is where thousands of young men, including public figures such as Cha Eunn Woo, spend their first weeks with a series of physical exercises, military theory, and character building. The routine is strict, getting up early before sunrise, sports, marching exercises, to class sessions on national values, all run in a uniform rhythm, regardless of the social background of each.